Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Random House Children's Books Summer 2025 preview. I am Ronny Khuri, Books for Youth Senior Editor at Booklist, and before we begin, I will go over some technical details. Today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. If you are in the audience, you are in listen-only mode, but we definitely welcome any questions that you may have. So on the bottom of your Zoom screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, you can just click Q&A and type your message into the box that pops up. We will do our best to respond to all of the tech-related questions, and we will pass along all other questions to today's panelists, and they'll have a chance to follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist also offers closed captioning on all of our webinars. So to enable or disable them on your screen, please look for and click the Show Captions icon on that toolbar that I mentioned before. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of them at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect. So anyone who violates that standard of behavior may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. All right, so we have a wonderful event for you today. And a little later in the program, we will hear from the Random House Children's Books team. But we're going to begin with a conversation between author Jeanne Birdsall and Melanie Nolan, who is the VP and publisher of Alfred A. Knopf Books for Young Readers. So without further ado, I will pass the mic over to Melanie.
Hi, thank you, Ronny. Good afternoon, everyone. We are so pleased to have you all with us today. Jeanne Birdsall is the author of 5 New York Times best-selling novels about the beloved Penderwicks family. The first of which, The Penderwicks, a summer tale of 4 sisters, 2 rabbits, and a very interesting boy, won the National Book Award for Children's Literature. We have all been waiting with bated breath for her new middle grade novel, so that's holding our breath for a couple of years. And at last, we're all about to be rewarded with The Library of Unruly Treasures. It's a brand new standalone middle grade that's both vintage Jeanne and totally fresh. Here's a quick plot summary to set the stage. The Library of Unusual Treasures is about a girl named Gwen who's tossed like a hot potato between her parents and finds herself staying for 2 weeks with a great uncle she's never met. And that's when she discovers a big secret. You see, in the library are tiny winged creatures. You're going to want to call them fairies, but don't. Only children under the age of 6 can see them, although for some mysterious reason, so can Gwen, who's 11. It turns out these creatures are in danger, and it's Gwen's job to help them find a new home. I can't wait for you all to have a chance to read the book, and in the meantime, we'll give you a sneak peek with this conversation. And here's Jeanne to tell us more. Hi, Jeanne.
There we go. I did it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
I just want to, I have one comment already. I love that you've been waiting for a few years for my next book. It took me 7 years to write. We've been waiting for an eternity, but thank you for pretending it wasn't.
Absolutely. You know, we have a pool on site, so we've all practiced holding our water under breath. Took a while, but we are experts now. We could scuba dive without tanks.
I would love to see you scuba dive. So.
Oh, no, you don't. All right. Well, to dive in, let's start with something pretty basic. You know, what was it like starting a new novel with entirely new characters after spending 5 books in many, many years with the Penderwicks?
Well, the first thing was that it was easy in a way because I was so sure that nothing I wrote would be as good as the Penderwicks, that nobody would ever like it as much as the Penderwicks. So I figured I could just do what I wanted. But then of course it became, then of course I got more and more engrossed in it and wanted it to be better. The hardest part that was different from the Penderwicks was bringing in the fantasy part. Because the Penderwicks was just rooted in my childhood and the childhoods of the kids around me in this area of Massachusetts. And bringing in a whole new fantasy element and creating a backstory for them was daunting, but fascinating. Fascinating. That's why it took 7 years.
I can understand. So speak of the fantasy, one of the aspects in the book is that Gwen discovers she is next in line for this sort of strange inherited role she's never heard of. She's a Kelba, which is a human helper to the little 8-inch winged creatures called Leducan. So how did you come up with the Leducan?
I've been thinking a lot about this because I have glib answers, but the real answers are that there were strange creatures in so many of the books that I read and loved growing up. The Borrowers is one of them, and I've been rereading E. Nesbit to get used to it. And there was even Tinkerbell, and all sorts of fairy stories and fairies, and none of them. I loved all of them, but none of them worked the way I sort of wanted to make this new clan work. They didn't have real backstories. I mean, like the Phoenix would say, yeah, 2,000 years ago, I blah, blah, blah. And they're always a little goofy. And Edward Eager did the same thing. They're always like yelling at the kids saying, you've used up all your wishes and can't do that in the water. And then with the Borrowers were different in that the book was the Borrowers. It was from their point of view. And humans were for the most part the enemy. And sometimes when humans tried to intervene, they just made it worse. And then fairies and fairy tales were always luring people underground and putting them to sleep for 1,000,000 years or whatever. But I wanted to create this world of these small creatures who weren't antagonistic and had this whole world all of their own. They were just connected to this one human in every generation, who would be their vehicle of communicating with the humans. And that's what Gwen ends up being. And it's this whole thing about they all had to be named McKinnon. It was totally ridiculous, but really, really a lot of fun. Coming up with their culture was really a lot of fun.
That's such a good point because, in the back of the book, there's I wouldn't say glossary, but a pronunciation guide. So you invented a whole language for them. I mean, they all have unusual names. I mean, did you have to do research for this language? Did you make it up? What are its roots?
Well, I'd planned to use Gaelic from Scotland. And I got to stack this high of books on how to read Gaelic. It was just like, yeah, no, this isn't going to happen. And I did research with Gaelic scholars, and they were like, we're really sick of Americans putting Gaelic into the mouths of fairies in their stupid books because it's a real language. Make up your own language. So I was like, okay, I'll make up my own language. But the language I made up for them has no rules. It's got no syntax. It's got nothing. I would type in because the Leducan were originally from Mesopotamia. That's where they arose before the beginning of time, et cetera, et cetera. I would type in Arabic, which is sort of close to Aramaic, and then Akkadian or something, all Akkadian, back and back and back. So I would type in what I wanted and have Google translate it into Arabic, and then I just take the letters I wanted and kind of mix them around. So yeah, nothing makes sense. But boy, that was fun. That was really
So research with a good amount of liberty, although you do have very specific plurals and singulars. Like people
very
are always
specific.
tripping over Leduca versus Leducan. I remember
Yeah,
that
Gwen is
from-
always, and just her little friend Julia is so annoyed that she can't get it right. But yeah, I'm no Tolkien. I mean, some people think that Tolkien wrote those books just to be able to make up the language. And yeah, I'm not that guy.
I think you're pretty good. I definitely think you're pretty good.
He would scorn me. He and C.S. Lewis would like, that's not a language.
I don't know. I think you could hold your own. I really do.
Okay.
So staying with the Leducan for a minute, why is it the kids older than 6 years old can't see them?
It started out as a logistics problem, like a lot of the plot started out as a logistics problem. Like if they were living in this library, and I want to talk about the library later, why didn't all the adults know about them? So I made them invisible except for small children because the small children had to see them, or else that was another whole logistics problem. But as I went through the book, as often happens when I'm just doing basically structural decisions, it took on a resonance that that of course it's only small children who could see them. I mean, for all we know, they weren't really invisible, but that the grown-ups had no part of their brain that would accept what was going in front of them. And the children's librarian in the library where they lived did pick up some of it because she was a children's librarian. She would feel their wings and things like that. So it became more of a, what do we lose when we give up that part of our brain that can imagine all possibilities? And it's a little sad. We do. Yeah.
You stay in touch so well with that kid spirit. I mean, I think people talk a lot about how you kind of channel kids and what's imaginary and what's real to them. And we could talk about that, but I want to hear more about the library. Like, why a library? Why do they live there and not a bookstore or a shoe store? Why a library?
Well, the basic reason is, of course, I learned to love to read in a library in Wayne, Pennsylvania. And we had one of those librarians that I don't even remember what she looked like. There could have been 10 of them for all I know, because nobody ever directed me anywhere. I would just wander through and take out 6 or 7 books a week. My mother would take me there every week. But a library is also is a safe haven. And again, that I didn't think of that then. It's become much more obvious now of what an important safe haven a library can be for a community. And these creatures included, because it closes at night, so they can wander around. Kids leave their clothes behind because they're little kids, and the Duke can take them and make their own clothes out of them. And there are all these books, and it's wonderful and it's big. And I also, again, structurally was rooting all of this in the Boston area, which is where I lived in my early 20s. The Penderwicks is mostly Western Mass. I went back to my youth in Eastern Mass. And I was thinking of the Boston Public Library, and was kind of wanted to put them there, but then I knew I'd have to go in a whole lot and wander around, and I wasn't up to. So I made up a fake library. But there is on Twitter, I bonded with one of the chief children's librarians at Boston Public Library. Her name is Laura Koenig. We bonded over plants and dogs, because she would say, here, this is in bloom, and then I'd show the same thing in bloom. And then there was this photograph of her with all of her children's librarians standing on the steps. It might have been outside the library. And they were all standing like this and they were dressed like crayons. I thought, I've got to use this woman. So the librarian in the book, the children's librarian is named Ms. Koenig. I asked Laura if that was all right. I didn't want to use both her names because I thought that was a little too much. So I picked Lexi, which ends up again unconsciously being the name of the woman who runs the best children's bookstore in the area. So I kind of stole everybody and put them together. But yeah, and I had never thought of a library as being a place that would be prone to having people come in big boots and stomping around and ruining things like these construction workers are doing to the Ledukins Library. But that's kind of happening now. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So you didn't want to go traipsing around the Boston Library, too big and too much to cover. But in terms of other research, what about things like security systems? What about things like theft? You know, how much digging into those sort of nefarious places did you have to go?
Well, since I made up the library, I didn't have to worry about it. The Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum, which also becomes an important part of the book, which is in Boston, I worried a lot about the security system. And I ended up really jury-rigging it at the end. I never said why the security system doesn't pick up the Leducan because I don't know, maybe it can't see them. I just wasn't going into that. But I would be like, maybe I should call them and ask them about their security system. It was like, yeah, no, like one of the most famous art heists in the world happened there. They really don't want this crazy woman saying, so I just had to wing it. One of the Boston Public Library, I knew, I imagined like these rays. I have no idea what's really there, but imagine like these rays of light all over and Gwen trying to dive under them.
Mission Impossible style.
Yeah, and then another thing about the Boston Public Library is I read somewhere that Jack Gantos, when he was young, used to sleep in the BPL. He just would crash there at night, and I thought, well, now it's his gig. I better come up with another one. I don't want the Leducan to run into Jack Gantos.
There are people you want him to meet, and then there are people you think,
yeah, right,
right. So you partnered with Matt Phelan for this book.
Yes.
And maybe we can show a couple of the interior illustrations. Can you tell us a little bit about how Matt came to be involved? Did you know him before? Was he sprung on you? What's the story with Matt?
Oh, he was so not sprung on me. We did a book together in 2010. I just looked at the date. Good Lord. It's a picture book called Flora's Very Windy Day. And he was sprung on me then. And I loved his art so much that when I saw that, I sent him like this love letter from Mars kind of thing. It turned one of the things that that happened was that we grew up in adjacent counties in Pennsylvania. I was in Chester and he was in Delaware County. So it takes place in the fall. His illustrations looked like my neighborhood. And there was just this whole astonishing synchronicity that came together. And so I asked for him because I love his work. He's really, really good with movement, but he also has a classical, or to me, classical way to compose his art that I'm very comfortable with and love very much. And we both spent time at the Delaware Art Museum looking at N.C. Wyeth in our youth, even though our youths were 20 years apart. So there was all these connections, and I wanted him more than anything. His Uncle Matthew, who is Gwen's great uncle, the one she stays with, it took me about 2 years to realize that like it was Matt's name. I basically grabbed Uncle Matthew from Anne of Green Gables. But then I specifically gave Uncle Matthew a daughter who's in her 20s and named her Nora after Matt's daughter. So I really wrapped him into the book, and my gosh, this is the first time that Gwen meets Uncle Matthew, and no one has wanted her. Parents didn't want her. She's scared. She just found out a couple days ago she was going. And then she comes down the steps, and this guy has a sign. You can see it under his arm. And look at that smile. He really wants her. And this is so astonishing to her. And then he gives her ginger cookies, which is for me the ultimate seduction. So I sort of put it in there. Yeah. So Matt is a genius, and I was very, very lucky to get
That's great
to do this book with him.
Yeah. His work, I mean, it's very complimentary your writing because it has this sort of timeless feel.
Yes.
And he has such a beautiful way of having the characters remote, and it's little teeny tiny things like the way an eyebrow is lifted, or even bringing Pumpkin to life with all those expressions of indignation and you're clueless.
Right.
What about the Leducan themselves? Because you had a very particular vision and description for them. Did Matt cop to that right away, or did you have to go back and forth?
I didn't have a real specific one. I was going to let him handle that, but he did make their faces more bird-like in the beginning than I was comfortable with. For me, they were tiny humans with wings. But he did the wings so perfectly, and the hair is right. The females have short hair, sleek, and the boys have sticky up hair. And of course, for me, that's bird-like. I mean, the males are the more. And I had thought of the tunics being shorter because of Peter Pan, just because that's what I thought. But I love what he did. This is so much better. They're more elegant and they're more classic. And they seem to be you can work in them and you can fly in them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good fly around fabrics too, taken from all sorts of people. Right.
T-shirt material, basically, that's left behind.
What would you say your favorite part of the book was to write, or do you not have a favorite part?
I don't have a favorite part. Probably the most fun I had was working on these scholars. The Leducan is a complete clan of McKinnon that live, and there are other clans that live in all different places, but each clan has their own resident scholars who are sort of historians / priests / teachers who have an oral memory of everything that's ever happened to them. And they everything that's going to happen or has to happen, they go back and they go way down deep, and then they say, well, okay, we should try this. But then there was that Kaaba who fell off a mountain and died, so maybe we should try something else. And it's all very detailed, and it was so much fun. And the fun part was that Gwen never really knew what they were talking about. I mean, she tried really hard, but they were these goofy little things, and one of them wore an acorn cap on his head, but it fell off. And but I felt like I'm married to a man who used to be a professor, so I feel like I was sort of tapping into that sensibility. Well, let's go back to 632 and figure out what happened there. That was really fun. And also because it never made that much sense to Gwen, I tried very, very, very hard to use real continuity. Like I would go into Scottish, because they were from Scotland. They got to Scotland from the Middle East, into Scottish history. So I didn't just say, this happened during the war. I would know which year it was and where it was. And I think I threw something in there about Queen Mary. I don't even remember. And that was really fun. But because Gwen never really had to understand, I never had to connect. I tried to make it all made sense to me and them. But if somebody said, well, what happened during these 300 years? I go, again, I'm not talking, right? I only had 7 years, but that was just glorious fun. And that kind of happened towards the end. I was struggling so to figure out how to get Gwen to do what she had to. And for a while, she time traveled. And my editor, poor Michelle, had a nervous breakdown at that and made me sob. So the time travel went away. But by then, I figured out that these goofy little scholars could do all the leading from sort of by nudges. They're sort of like hockey players.
So you have sort of a PhD in Leducan history, an honorary PhD.
Well, I do, because who would know that it's not right? I can say PhD.
There you go.
Nobody else knows.
Language lost to time and a history only you know.
And it changes whenever I wanted to.
That's okay. I'm going to kind of bring us to a close and ask one of my personal favorite questions, and that is, well, I'll start it out. Anyone who's read the first Pendowicks knows about Miss Tipton's famous, gorgeous, fabulous garden. And even in this book, Gwen is, sort of resuscitating her uncle's garden and sort of she finds the marigolds, which have inflammatory properties. And people may not know you have like this insanely green thumb. So I'm curious as to what the role of gardens, flowers, and sort of the natural play in your books, and whether that's intentional or if it's just sort of part of your natural world building.
It's part of my natural world building, but I could say that it's part of my natural world building because of the secret garden. So that just enchanted me so much, as it has a million other people, and just wanting to, I still remember the boy, not the sick one, but the other boy, who would say, yes, these plants are still quick. I think that's the term. And or something else, wick. That's what he said, they're wick. And I'll go out there in the spring and I'll think that these things are still wick. It's a very Yorkshire term. So so I just kept growing more and more and more and more flowers and photographing them. And yeah.
Lovely. So what is wick in your garden today, since we're like here on the precipice of real spring?
Well, actually, everything is, because hasn't died, but I mean, one hopes. I can sort of look at them and think, well, you're not dead yet. But the dandelions, I mean, not the dandelions, the daffodils are about this high. And I have some crocuses blooming. I'm making the shape of a crocus for you. And the lilacs have tiny buds. So
wonderful.
It's going to happen. It didn't all winter. I was sure it wouldn't happen, but it's.
I've seen it up close and personal. It is enchanting. So I'm glad you found a way to bring it into all of your stories.
Thank you.
I know we only have like a minute left. Are there any questions we want to throw at Jeannie before we kind of draw this to a close?
I do have one. If there aren't any questions, I do have one Pendowicks tale that I'll do really quickly. For those of you who've read all the Pendowicks, Wesley, who was Batty's ex-boyfriend in the 5th book, so he was grown up and rode motorcycles. I just this morning got a text from the boyfriend that he was based on, who was my age, 73, and was just motorcycling in Ecuador and couldn't quite figure out why he couldn't keep up with his 40-year-old friend through the mudslides. So that's what happened to Wesley.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm glad he's still on his bike, though. I mean, he'll catch up eventually.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, Jeannie, thank you so, so much. I could talk to you all day long, and hopefully we'll connect again in person very soon. And I hope for everybody out there who had a chance to listen in, you get your copy of the Library of Unruly Treasures. It's so special, and it's so, so good to have something brand new from you to share with kids.
Thank you, Melanie, and
Thank you.
Thank you, Booklist, and thank you, everybody, for coming.
And thank you, Booklist team. I'm going to now pass it over to Erica for the rest of the program.
Hey, a big thank you to Jeannie and Melanie for that fantastic chat. The school and library team, along with, I'm sure, everybody in the audience, can hardly wait for the magic of the Library of Unruly Treasures to arrive on August 5th. So welcome to the title presentation segment of our Summer 2025 preview. I'm Erica Trotta, Manager of Library Marketing, and thank you for joining us today. We're excited to share some fantastic upcoming books, and now I'll pass it over to Natalie, who will take it away with picture books.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Capagrossi, the Senior Manager of School Marketing. And speaking of green thumbs, I'm happy to talk first about a few beautiful picture books that center nature. Next slide, please. Okay, first is Dream for the Land. From Pour Belpré honor author Lycan Kemp and Pour Belpré Illustrator Award winner Leo Espinosa comes a beautiful picture book about the importance of caring for our Earth. With a lovely father-daughter relationship at its emotional core, Dream for the Land shows the effects of extreme weather, a mega drought caused by climate change that has altered the once vibrant landscape over just a few decades. When a little girl gets the opportunity to make a wish by kissing a little horned toad, she knows what she is wishing for: rain. This is not a book that offers a plan for saving our planet. Instead, this book reminds us that action starts with a wish and a faith that something can change. The author's note includes reflections on the mega drought in West Texas, where she grew up, environmental injustice, and resources by Indigenous land defenders for further learning. Next slide, please. And Willow and the Wildflowers. This is a reassuring picture book about a timid bear named Willow. Willow was afraid of just about everything. She rarely ventured outside her tree stump home, but when she received an invitation to a seaside wildflower festival, she is surprised that she really wants to go. And so she says yes, but getting to the wildflower fields will not be easy. At first, she thinks she should have stayed home, but when she begins to meet new friends along the way who teach her valuable lessons about being in the wide and wonderful world, she starts to appreciate what she sees around her. There are challenges, but she rises to all of them. It is a story about feeling fear, but finding ways to make yourself feel less nervous. Next slide, please. And Daisy Rewilds. You might be familiar with the term rewilding. That is, letting nature take care of itself and allowing ecosystems to repair themselves without too much human interference. This is a story about a little science-loving girl named Daisy who decides to help rewild her neighborhood by actually letting plants, flowers, insects, and worms take up residence on her. One spring day, after skipping her bath for 5 weeks, the daisies begin to grow and her plan begins to work. Moss nestled behind her ears, ferns spring up from her toes, and ivy winds its way all around her ankles. And it's a wet spring, so Daisy sprouted up a storm. When one of her neighbor makes a comment that they wish the whole neighborhood could look like this, Daisy knows that her plan has worked. This book is from acclaimed author Margaret McNamara, and you might already be familiar with the wildly talented husband-wife team of the Karaskowitz. They bring to life this whimsical story about a science-loving naturalist girl determined to let nature heal. Next slide, please. And we are on to nonfiction, starting with A Gift of Dust. Who knew that a nonfiction book about dust could be so lyrical and so moving? The dust we are talking about originates from a dried-up lake in Chad on the African continent, and it's made up of fossilized fish and other former inhabitants of this ancient lake. And when the Saharan dust is picked up by winds, they carry it across the Atlantic and towards the Amazon rainforest. Hair and dust visible from space flows westward and nourishes the Amazon rainforest. If it weren't for the nutrients in this dust, the rainforest as we know it would not be able to sustain the life it does. And of course, it's that plant life that contributes to our oxygen, which keeps us and other creatures alive. This book shows us just how interconnected everything on planet Earth is, from the tiniest insect to big blue whales, from humans and even dust. There is extensive back matter to explain it all. And I'll pass it over to Jasmine.
Hello, I'm Jasmine, an associate marketer from the school and library team, and I'm so excited to share more picture books with you. Join the trio of wandering wombats as they venture into town and inspire both you and an enthusiastic duckling with words like extraordinary and splendiferous. The wandering wombats are here to transform evergreen forests with nouns, adjectives, and verbs. Become mesmerized just like the inhabitants of evergreen forests as they discover the words are not just fun, they are inspiring. This is the perfect book to spark a love for language and ignite the imagination even the most reluctant readers. Next slide, please. Selah Avant-Garde Script National Spelling Bee Champion is back with a new uplifting and vibrant picture book that is sure to empower readers. Filled with encouraging messages and motivating quotes, this book will inspire young readers to be proud, stand out, and stay true to themselves, even if they feel different, because being weird is wonderful. Next slide, please. Explore the many meanings of the word by, both in the terms of the language we use to understand the world and to understand ourselves. There are many words that use the word bi, from bicycle, bilingual, binoculars, biracial, to even people who identify as bi, because some hearts love in a rainbow of ways. This sweet, bold picture book is a gentle introduction to bisexuality identity by ways of many different words that share the root bi. Next slide, please. Tenacious is determined to ride on her two-wheeler for the upcoming The Wheel Parade. But no matter how hard she tries, crash, crash, crash. Tenacious just can't get it right. But with advice from her sister, she comes to see that sometimes trying smarter, not harder, is the best way to get where you want to go. Next slide, please. Mau loves for everything to be absolutely 100% perfect. But when Olivia joins his class, Mau learns quickly that everyone is not like that. Olivia is messy and noisy and clumsy. Mau can't help to teach Olivia the art of how to be perfect, but maybe perfect looks different for everyone. This picture book celebrates individuality and self-expression and invites little ones to redefine what it means to be perfect. Next slide, please. This humorous and vibrant book celebrates the many ways we are all different, inside and out, and why that's really cool. Through lively text and colorful illustration, the book explores both external and internal differences, comparing animals, objects, and people. From unique shapes, sizes, and colors to diverse emotions, dreams, and ways of self-expression. It highlights the beauty of individuality. There are countless ways to be different. And not only is that okay, it's totally cool. I'm passing it along to Katie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Dutton, and I'm the School and Library Digital Marketing Manager. In my family, there are traditions, and my favorite happen around this table. Antoine Eady, author of Nigel and the Moon, and award-winning illustrator London Ladd have teamed up to deliver a joyful picture book about how a Southern family gathers around a special table for year-round celebrations that highlight the importance of family, community, and coming together. With sweet lyrical text and warm, accessible art, this makes for a perfect bedtime story or read-aloud edition. Next slide, please. A tender picture book debut about finding joy despite grief, Together We Remember uses vivid, emotive prose and stunning illustrations to make the complicated themes of grief and absence accessible for young readers. Giselle and her Poppy are happy together, but there was a time when their two was 3. Though remembering their lost loved one, in this case Giselle's mother, is often painful, they're able to find joy in an imagination adventure that honors Mommy and her memory. References to the author's Cuban heritage are sprinkled throughout this truly gorgeous story of family, loss, and love. Next slide. From the award-winning creators of Ice Cream Man and Good Things comes a journey through the mystical world of the Louisiana Bayou as readers join a young boy on a boat ride with his grandpa, where he learns about the environment and the history of the bayou. Author Glenda Armand's inviting and informational text, along with Aliana Harris's lush illustrations, capture the young protagonist's imaginative perspective, the lovely bond between a grandfather and grandson, and the power of poetry. The beauty and history of the bayou is further captured in the sidebars filled with fun facts and poem snippets woven throughout. Next slide. Kente is more than a cloth. It's a symbol of love. And the big brother in Kente for Jojo loves his new baby sibling so very much. Follow along as author Bernard Mensah uses lyrical text to share the legend of how Kente came to be, and illustrator Elizabeth Zunon showcases the many beautiful patterns of traditional Kente in this story about a boy on a mission to weave the perfect cloth to welcome his family's new baby. Next slide. From the author of the highly acclaimed The Paper Kingdom and Rose's Song comes Shoes Off, Please, a tender story based on the author's own experience learning about the importance of family traditions. At the beginning of this story, Mina is embarrassed by the Korean tradition of removing shoes before entering her home and doesn't like the way it makes her feel different from her friends. After her mother helps her understand the meaning of the custom and how traditions connect you to your past, Mina is surprised to learn her friends all have different customs that they follow at home too. This is a charming picture book about family traditions, connections, communication, and friendship. Next slide. Take one adorable little girl, add a loving abuela who knows a thing or two about fun, mix them together on the beautiful islands of Puerto Rico, and prepare to be delighted by an enchanting picture book based on author Mayra Cuevas' relationship with her own beloved grandmother. My Abuela is a Bruja is a gorgeous tribute to these small, cozy moments that create the magic of a grandmother's love, perfect for Latinx families and any family who cherishes a special relationship between grandparent and grandchild. We are publishing this simultaneously in Spanish. And back to Erica.
Okay. And next slide. Yeah, sure. So Sharks at Sister T. In this charming picture book, two brave sisters cleverly fend off a hungry shark that interrupts their tea party using their strength and a bit of unique magic. Fans of whimsical reads like Children Make Terrible Pets, Attack of the Underwear Dragon, and Sophie's Squash will enjoy this playful and laugh-inducing story, perfect for read-alouds. Next slide. Oh no, Ojo. Ojo has a big love for drawing, but what happens when he can't resist doodling all over the wrong places? From an exciting and upcoming Nigerian talent comes a hilarious tale about a classic preschool dilemma. This captivating picture book offers giggles galore with illustrations that will leave readers in stitches. Based on the author's own childhood adventures, it beautifully showcases a vibrant Nigerian backdrop that kids rarely get to explore in picture books. Next slide. Bob the Vampire Snail. The whimsical genius of Andrea Zoll, the author-illustrator behind Sweetie, is back with an utterly delightful picture book starring Bob the Vampire Snail. Follow Bob as he passionately embraces his love for tomatoes, uncovers his quirky sleeping talents, and stumbles into an unexpected friendship. This enchanting tale, told in Andrea's trademark playful style, celebrates the beauty of individuality and the magic of unlikely connections. Next slide. There's a dinosaur in your book. Get ready for the next adventure on the Who's in Your Book series. This playful interactive tale teaches kids about using their inside voices through whispering and humming, plus fun prompts for counting, dancing, and even shouting when it's time to make some noise. Young dinosaur lovers will delight in spotting T-Rex, Triceratops, Diplodocus, and Stegosaurus in the vibrant illustrations. Plus, this exciting installment features a first for the series, an adult character that highlights the special bond between a parent and child. Next slide. My Teacher is a Dinosaur. Fans of the quirky creatures in the How to Catch series will adore this hilariously wacky picture book, a perfect back-to-school giggle, with a playful twist that sparks the imagination. Kids can dream about what school would be like if their teacher were a dinosaur. It's a silly, heartwarming story that's perfect for read-aloud fun. Next slide. Today at School. Get ready for a heartwarming adventure on the first day of school with 3 delightful characters: yesterday, today, and tomorrow. While yesterday and tomorrow are a tight duo, They're a bit unsure about what the big day will hold, but with the cheer of their new friend, today they discover the magic of living in a moment. The playful and uplifting picture book gently introduces young readers to the concepts of time, perspective, and mindfulness, and is perfect for anyone stepping into a new experience. Next slide. Feeling those school day jitters? Yeti completely understands. This colorful picture book gently reminds us that it's okay to be scared of new adventures. Yeti is Not Ready for School is a delightful read that eases back-to-school anxieties and is a must-have for new students who may need help to calm those preschool butterflies. And over to Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Campbell, Assistant Director of School Marketing on our School and Library Marketing team. And I will be talking about 3 Halloween titles that we have for you. The first is Getting Ready for Halloween. This is the 5th book in the Getting Ready series by the Tutu teacher, Vera Ahia. This time, she takes on Halloween and gives young readers a look at what they can expect from this wonderful holiday. Goldilocks and the Three Ghosts is a play on the beloved original fairy tale. And Squash and Pumpkin #Squash Goals is a heartfelt tale narrated by Acorn Squash, who is tired of the season of fall being solely the domain for its best friend, Pumpkin. As the story unfolds, they discover that their unique qualities complement each other quite perfectly, ultimately realizing that together they can create the ultimate spice. Next slide, please. Next slide. And we have some really nice additions to our educator-approved leveled reader line, Step Into Reading. From family fossil digging to unicorns to boxcar children, we have something for everyone. And now back over to Erica.
Okay. So welcome to the most magical bakery, Witchy Cakes. In this new highly illustrated chapter book series, Little Blue, a witch in training, delivers baked goods all over town and helps their neighbors with a touch of magic. This is perfect for fans of Owl Diaries, Unicorn Diaries, and other sweet full-color chapter book adventures with the Witchy Cake series launches with 2 books, and the promise of more deliciously magical adventures follows. Each book will include a recipe or a magic spell that kids can replicate from the story. Next slide. Earl and Worm 2, The Big Mess and Other Stories. The unlikely duo of Earl and Worm returns in the 2nd installment of award winner Greg Pizzoli's chapter book series. Though they couldn't be more different, their deep friendship shines as they tackle challenges together. When Earl's chaos spirals out of control, Worm believes she can lend a hand, and when a lucky penny takes a turn for the worse, Earl helps Worm find a silver lining. This delightful follow-up, filled with 3 laugh-out-loud tales, is perfect for fans of Elephant and Piggy, with a 3rd book set to release in fall of 2025. Next slide. Our ongoing chapter book series provides even more laughs and adventures for our young readers, featuring a precocious 8-year-old who is uncertain about capturing her childhood in a time capsule, a magical talking llama, underwater escapades, and a new installment in the best-selling Magic Tree House series. Next slide. Next slide. Stitchhead. Stitchhead presents a captivating blend of humor and spookiness, perfect for enticing hesitant readers drawn to tales like A Series of Unfortunate Events or Bunnicula. The story follows Stitchhead, a lonely boy who must protect his monstrous friends in their whimsical home from an ominous mob and a scheming carnival owner. Key themes such as friendship, loyalty, and self-acceptance emerge as Stitchhead navigates challenges throughout the book. The vibrant illustrations and engaging storyteller further enhance accessibility, encouraging visual literacy and making it an ideal addition to library and classroom collections. Next slide. On Guard. This engaging story centers on a 7th grader named Grace and a strained relationship with her mother amidst the aftermath of her parents' divorce. Themes of resilience, self-discovery, and belonging are woven throughout the narrative, making it relatable for middle school readers. The introduction of the school's fencing club presents a unique avenue of exploration of teamwork, empowerment, and personal growth, enriching the narrative with opportunities for discussions about sports as a means for coping and building community. And now over to Natalie.
And on to Camp Frenemies, the first title in a new middle grade graphic novel series from Liz Montague, a New Yorker cartoonist and the author of the highly acclaimed YA graphic memoir, Maybe an Artist. Liz Montague is bringing her unique, pitch-perfect voice and signature cartoons to the middle grade space. 3 tweens head off to camp. There's plenty of drama, a crush, and lots of cringeworthy moments, like when Roxy reads a private journal out loud at a campfire. And there are all the camp classics here too, from friendship bracelets to boating on the lake to tug of war. And in the end, of course, it's friendship that helps them through it all. This book is perfect for summer reading, and it's an ideal read for all those kids heading to sleepaway camp for the first time. We can't wait for you to dive into this series with so many more classic middle grade themes to be uncovered along the way. Next slide, please. And Grumpy Monkey School Stinks. Chimpanzee is back in another graphic novel. Why does school stink? Because Chimpanzee doesn't like anything. Also because he spends too much time around a stinky polecat and winds up smelling pretty stinky himself. And he gets very grumpy, especially when the other jungle animals complain about the stench. Despite his grumbling, Chimpanzee is convinced by the other animals to go back to school. Although he's not a very good student, he sees school's importance when a new skill saves the day after he concocts tummy tea and prevents Little Turtle from being poisoned by a bad berry. The graphic novel format is perfect for longer Grumpy Monkey stories, and with lots of opportunities to slip in extra silliness that's characteristic of the #1 New York Times best-selling series. With its school themes, this one is perfect for back to school.
These ongoing graphic novel series combine humor, adventure, and relatable themes, making them appealing to hesitant readers. Kids will be excited to return to the pages with their favorite characters and discover what happens next in the series. Next slide, please. We are happy to introduce our first book in our new global comic line, Ink Pop, your new home for manhwa, manga, and webtoons. I Want to Be Your Girl follows the story of Hime and Ikura. Hime has secretly been in love with her childhood best friend Ikura for as long as she can remember. She was the first person who knew that Ikura identified as a girl, and she made it her mission to be the first person to protect Ikura against the world. So when Ikura decides to live as her true self, now that they are starting high school, Hima can't help herself to aggressively stick up for Ikura whenever necessary. I Want to Be Your Girl is thoughtfully explores a story about the complications of first love, friendship, and what it truly means to be an ally. This is the perfect new read for your manga-loving readers, especially readers ferociously looking for LGBT content in the manga space. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. We all heard from Jeannie about her new middle grade. We're so excited to have this exquisitely kid-like, wholesome escape with a relatable main character written a way that only Jeanne Birdsall can do. And the inclusion of matte feelings, charming black and white illustrations, we think this is going to be an instant classic. Next slide, please. The Memory Spinner is written by debut author C.M. Cornwell and is an enchanting, cozy fantasy with Gilded Age-inspired outfits, a talking raven, and an enchantress who poses a threat to the entire town. It tells a story of what happens when a 13-year-old Lavender loses her memories and is desperate to hold on to them as the last link with her beloved mom. Next slide, please. The Dog Who Made It Better is Catherine Knowlt's third book, her first being Back to the Bright Before, and her second being The Wonderful Wishes of Bee. This one, just like those, is a standalone novel about loss, grief, and fear, but also joy, and will give librarians and teachers a way to talk about these tough subjects. But it is all done from a POV of a smart and loving dog. And passing it along to Michelle.
Thanks, Jasmine. AJ Torres and the Treasure of Captain Gray Shark is a funny and paranormal story that lightly explores more serious topics like financial insecurity, And it's perfect for fans of Carl Hyacin, Celia C. Perez, and Gordon Corman. When a gold coin washes up on a beach in Miami, it starts a slightly scary but funny adventure and a quest for a missing treasure, and also introduces us to a ghost expert and a pirate captain. Buckle up for a crazy adventure with this one. Next slide, please. Ride or Die. A sleepover at an amusement park turns into a night of terror in this thrilling middle grade read from New York Times bestselling author Delilah S. Dawson. Hoping to be accepted by the popular girls, the M's, Bree ends up alone in a creepy section of the park after a game of truth or dare goes too far. She encounters a reawakened evil that wants to take her on the ride of her life or death. Perfect for fans of scary stories to tell in the dark, this chilling adventure tackles themes of social acceptance and bullying. Next slide. In this chilling middle grade thriller, 12-year-old Danny is excited to spend a week at his Uncle Bill's retro arcade, Pixel Works, playing endless games. However, he stumbles upon a sinister game called Grin, which holds the soul of a dead serial killer. Players become violent, and soon the killer possesses his Uncle Bill. With the help of his friend Jody and a video game streamer, Danny must save his uncle and himself. This is perfect for fans also for fans of scary stories to tell in the dark, and of course the Goosebumps series. This spine-tingling tale combines gaming and horror, making it an irresistible read for kids seeking genuine scare. Next slide, please. Kick turn. Lindy travels in a renovated school bus with her influencer parents, dreaming of meeting her skateboarding idol. When the bus breaks down in San Jose, she discovers a love for skateboarding and making new friends. As her parents plan to leave, Lindy considers sabotage to stay a little bit longer. This is perfect for fans of Roller Girl. This illustrated coming-of-age novel promotes girls in sports and delivers a heartfelt message about trying new things and finding community. And now back to Jasmine.
Now in Young Reader format comes An Immense World from Pulitzer Prize winner Ed Young. Explore the amazing ways animals see, hear, and feel the world. Did you know that there are turtles who can track the Earth's magnetic fields, or that some fish use electricity to talk to each other? The world is more immense than we humans experience it. Exploring the amazing ways animals perceive the world is an excellent way to help understand the world itself. Next slide. From the popular Lost Women of Science podcast comes an empowering collection that recognizes women in science that have been overlooked. But despite the missing pages from history books, these remarkable ladies conduct groundbreaking experiments, discovered diseases that changed lives, deciphered codes that altered the course of world wars, and so much more. And now we know their stories. I'm passing it along to Katie.
Jasmine. This slide shows off our middle grade series that have a new book coming out this summer. Next slide. I am positive that I am far from the only one here who remembers the way they felt when they read Rebecca Stead's Newbery Medal-winning When You Reach Me for the very first time. This summer, we are repackaging this unforgettable masterpiece with a fresh new cover that's sure to appeal to today's readers. Next slide. The Trixie Belden series. What a beloved, nostalgic series, and for the first time, we will be bringing it out in paperback with brand new covers. Next slide. And to finish up middle grade, here are books that will be coming out in paperback for the very first time this summer. And over to Erica.
Hey, okay. The Unexpected Consequence of Bleeding on a Tuesday. High school senior Delia Bridges has an incredible mom, a sister, a stellar GPA, and suffers from debilitating periods that cause her to scream, pass out, and vomit. Despite the challenges of her pain, Delia is just one semester away from graduating from Stockwood Prep and fulfilling her dream of becoming a doctor who genuinely listens to her patients. However, after breaking a school rule for the first time by using a marijuana-infused tincture to cope with her pain, she faces expulsion, putting her future at risk. This compelling and period-positive story highlights the struggles of teens dealing with the invisible illness of endometriosis and is perfect for fans of feminist YA novels like Moxie, Does My Body Offend You, and Plan A. And over to Michelle.
Thanks, Erica. In this queer YA romance, high school field hockey star Evelyn is determined to lead her team to a nationals title and secure a scholarship to her mom's alma mater. Her fierce drive is challenged by Rosa Alvarez, a talented new player on a rival team. After a humiliating game and prank, the two strike a deal to help each other improve, leading Evelyn to question her priorities. As she spends more time with Rosa, Evelyn wonders if she should leave the competitive battlefield behind and fight for love instead. This is perfect for fans of She Drives Me Crazy and Cleat Cute, and this is truly a masterclass in romantic tension. Next slide, please. Kia, the daughter of a reality star, longs for a normal life away from the spotlight, where she can make her own choices and experience typical teenage milestones. She meets Cass, a rising star, and their budding romance offers her a glimpse of an ordinary life, something that she's always wanted. However, the pressures of fame and public scrutiny threaten to reshape her identity and strain their relationship. This heartfelt and insightful young adult novel explores the challenges of finding true happiness and self-acceptance in a world obsessed with image. This is perfect for fans of Rainbow Rowell and Jenny Han. Next slide. An aspiring teen art curator who has given up on love embarks on a semester-long journey in India, where she meets a charming boy with a royally big secret. Hand this to fans of shows and movies like Emily in Paris and Dash and Lily. This story also explores rich Indian history and culture, highlighting local contemporary art. And this is the second installment in the enchanting Love and Translation series, featuring standalone YA romances that can be enjoyed individually or as a collection. Next slide. 17-year-old Ari McKinley appears to have it all as a fashion influencer in Paris, but her glamorous life is truly just a facade. She is fake dating musician Remy St. Julien while secretly seeing Killian, a down-to-earth guy who her family would definitely not approve of. As Ori navigates her double life, a staged kiss with Remy stirs real emotions, complicating her feelings and relationships. This YA romance explores the highs and lows of influencer culture set against an enchanting backdrop of Paris. Next slide, please. In this swoony, mystery-filled romance by the author of Hearts Overboard, Evie Whitmore embarks on an art and architecture class trip to Venice, where she secretly seeks an underground fan club for her favorite novel series, Elven Realms. Disguised in costume and mask, she meets a mysterious stranger named Angelo, who shares her passion for the novels and helps her unravel clues in the labyrinth city. As their connection deepens, Evie must uncover Angelo's true identity and confront her own feelings. Set against a backdrop of the wonderful Venice, this rivals to lovers romance is perfect for fans of humor, adventure, and magic, and the magic of being yourself. Next slide. In this joyful celebration of fandoms and whirlwind romance, Leah Baker faces an uncertain future as her friends prepare for college while she remains behind, dealing with her mom's anxiety and an unwanted job. Her luck changes, though, when she wins a spot in a scavenger hunt at Fableland, a legendary theme park, offering her a chance to create new memories. Teaming up with Mason, a cute rival, Leah finds herself torn between focusing on the contest and the unexpected romance blossoming between them. This YA debut, featuring a plus-size protagonist, combines a Disney-inspired setting with a heartwarming rivals-to-lover trope, making it an unputdownable romance. And now back to Jasmine.
In this dazzling sapphic rom-com, actress Marisol Poli Rodriguez, reeling from a humiliating public breakup with her co-star boyfriend Miles, lands a role on the same high-profile show as him to prove her talent. As she navigates the pressure of the new role and a challenging cast, Marisol unexpectedly falls for Jamila, Mal's on-screen love interest. Despite her hesitation, the chemistry between Marisol and Jamila grow as they help each other unlock their potential and navigate newfound fame. Inspired by Legally Blonde, this story of self-discovery and romance is perfect for fans of celebrity romance and LGBTQ YA fiction. Next slide, please. This joyful queer coming-of-age story, newly out Zeke Chapman rebels against his father's obsession with a perfect reputation by hosting underground pride speakeasies. After the mayor cancels all LGBTQ celebrations in their small town, Alabama town, initially motivated by defiance, Zeke finds purpose and community as the speakeasy grows and earning him the title of King of Pride. However, the friendship drama, a mysterious cyber crush, and tension with his ex, Cohen Coco Fisher, threaten his newfound pride. As his final party faces near disaster, Zeke must confront his true motivations and embrace the spirit of pride, which began as a riot. Next slide, please. These vengeful gods. Years ago, the descendants of the god of death were brutally murdered, leaving only a few survivors hiding, including Crow, a teenager who conceals their magical abilities to stay safe with their uncles. When Crow's uncles are arrested for sheltering deaf children, Crow is determined to rescue them. But this mission will plunge them into a dangerous world that threatens their very existence. Blending elements of Hunger Games and Emperor in the Ashes and Mary Lou's Legend series, this standalone fantasy explores a society marked by stark class divides, prejudice, powerless, hungry leaders, and environmental decay. Teen readers will easily recognize the parallels to our own world as Crow emerges as a pivotal activist in their fight for change. And passing along to Erica for more fantasy titles.
A Forgery of Fate. True never intended to become a con artist, but after her father vanishes at sea, she must support her mother and two young sisters. As a talented art forger with the rare ability to paint visions of their future, True finds herself in dire straits when gangsters come demanding blood for her mother's gambling debts. With limited choices, she reluctantly enters a marriage contract with a mysterious dragon lord. This enchanting romantic fantasy inspired by Beauty and the Beast will captivate fans of Leigh Bardugo, Stephanie Garber, and Holly Black. Next slide. Among Ghosts. 7 years ago, Charles and his mother fled to St. Muthels and made it their safe haven. But when Charles sees something impossible, a ghost, soon the embers of the past are threatening to engulf his world in flame. A tragic accident is quickly followed by a murder, a deadly plague, and a mercenary dragon. Charles manages to escape to an abandoned abbey outside of town, but finds no safety within those ruined walls. A treacherous nun, a chorus of murdered girls, and the fearsome battle bishop await, ready to ensnare him in a complex web of history, magic, and fate. Set in the world of the best-selling YA Seraphina, this is a wholly original ghost story about what haunts us and what connects us. Next slide. The Nightblood Prince. The night Fae was born, a prophecy was made. She would one day become empress of all empresses. When the opportunity arises to seize her own destiny for the first time in her life, Fae takes it. But to outrun destiny, Fae must spark a wave of events that will change the world as she knows it. With the swoony romance, sharp political intrigue, and a dose of magical Chinese vampires, the best-selling author of To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods delivers a read that's impossible to put down, with a cliffhanger that will have readers clamoring for the sequel. And I'll pass it over to Katie.
Blackwood Academy is a legendary boarding school located at the fringes of the afterlife, where students are fated to spend the rest of eternity shepherding lost souls. Once every decade, the Academy hosts a celebration that rewards nominees who pass its trials with a choice: formally graduate and join Blackwood's magical elite, or venture into the unknown and cross over to the mysterious other side. Ren, August, Irene, Masika, Olivier, and Emilio are each determined to be Blackwood's chosen candidate, and all of them would do anything to win. But none of them are prepared for what's to come. Perfect for readers of dark, atmospheric romantasy, such as those by Ava Reed and Adeline Grace, as well as readers who love enemies to lovers, love triangles, and lovers to enemies tropes. Next slide. Bound together by a cruel curse, the dancers of the legendary Ballet Theater of New Cora enchant the audience each night with their grace and divine beauty. When the troupe is invited to perform in the glitzy city of Parlizia, Emberlyn, the show's star, knows this could be her best chance to save them all. But the cost of freedom might be too high, and as she dances closer to the edge of darkness, she realizes she might break the curse, or break her own heart forever. Evie Wood's debut novel is a dark fairy tale full of lush writing and romance perfect for fans of House of Salt and Sorrow, Divine Rivals, and Stephanie Garber novels. Next slide. Moving on to horror. Murder, Love, Fashion. Add in a fierce, morally gray character that readers are bound to root for, and you've got The Protégé, a thrilling historical horror from New York Times bestselling author Erica Ridley. In Ridley's YA debut, we meet 18-year-old Angelique, a working-class French seamstress who would do anything, to become assistant to Paris's top modiste. As Angelique outshines and outlives her competition, she also wields her newfound privilege and power to exact vengeance on those responsible for the death of her family in this tale of greed, privilege, murder, and more. Next slide. From the author of Those We Drown, Predatory Natures takes a Welsh myth about a perfect woman made of flowers and reimagines it through a feminist horror lens. When Lara Williams gets a summer job aboard the luxury train, the Bainbury, she thinks she's landed a 5-star escape from her past. However, her dream job derails when the trip takes a strange turn after 2 mysterious carriages filled with an array of beautiful and rare plants are attached to the Bainbury in the middle of the night. Lara can't shake the feeling that there's something otherworldly about the strange blooms and the mysterious siblings that came with them, and she'll soon realize that if she can't figure out what's going on, the Bainbury's secrets might drag her down for good. Next slide. Deep Water is a new pulse-quickening read from the author of Escape Room that begs the question, how do you outrun danger when you're trapped at sea? Vesper thought a 10-day cruise would be the perfect escape from her troubled life, until she realizes that her so-called vacation is actually no exit, a sinister program to re-educate bullies. As the days pass, the ship becomes a floating prison where the rules are brutal and the punishments deadly. This terrifying thriller is perfect for fans of Christopher Pike, Natasha Preston, and Stephen King. And back to Natalie.
And on to Death in the Cards. This is the young adult debut from the award-winning adult author of Arsenic and Adobo. When Danica, a high school tarot reader and aspiring detective, has her latest client go missing after a troubling reading, she must apply everything she's learned from her private investigator mother to solve the case of her own. This is a cozy mystery with a love triangle from an author who won the Agatha Award. What's not to love? Next slide, please. And Kill Creatures. Rory Power's Wilder Girls inspired a wave of feminist fiction in the YA category. She writes deeply complex queer characters grappling with the transition from girlhood to womanhood. Kill Creatures is written in that same vein, and it's her twistiest book yet. Last year, Nan's 3 best friends ventured into the canyons near their small town and never returned. Now, one of them is back, and Nan can't believe it, because she's the one who killed them. From New York Times bestselling author Rory Power comes a dark thriller about friendship, jealousy, desire, and revenge, with an ending readers will not see coming. Next slide, please. Kill the Laxbro is a Black comedy for fans of crime satire shows like Only Murders in the Building, and is appropriate for a teen audience. The school star lacrosse player, aka the Laxbro, has met a deadly end. He is your typical bro, the boy at school who is a devil disguised in vineyard vines polos, but he will always fool girls with his good looks and charm. He has many enemies, with girls throwing themselves at him. So the question is, who wanted him dead? From debut author Charlotte Lilly-Bello comes a wickedly sharp take on high school stereotypes, including the boys we love and love to hate, Laxbros. Next slide, please.
Difficult Girls is a fresh voice in the growing category of YA thrillers. This is a twisty read, sure to deliver everything mystery and thriller audiences love. More than that, readers who love rom-coms will love the sweet romance at the center of this mystery. A teen girl's attempt at social reinvention takes a deadly turn when a coworker disappears, and she learns she may have been the last person to see the missing girl. This is a razor-sharp, murderously funny thriller debut.
Okay, and this is Hick, a nonfiction YA. In this engaging YA nonfiction book set during the Great Depression, follow Lorena Hickok, known as Hick, on her journey from a challenging childhood to becoming a celebrated journalist, all while cultivating a profound relationship and romantic relationship with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Acclaimed author Sarah Miller delves into 3,500 letters exchanged between Hickok and Roosevelt to vividly reconstruct their bond and share Hick's remarkable story with a new generation. Next slide. This slide features 4 books releasing their next installments this season. While all are sophomore books, I want to highlight Snow Globe 2. The first book in the series, translated from Korean, was released in early 2024 and received recognition on several end-of-the-year lists. Next slide. And to finish out the preview, here are some YA books that will be coming out in paperback. And that's a wrap on our summer 2025 title presentations. For more information about our upcoming books and to download free resources, please follow us on Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter, and visit us online at rhteacherslibrarians.com. If you're itching to get your hands on ARCs and FNGs of today's fabulous titles, head over to Edelweiss and NetGalley to request. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Thank you so much to the whole Random House Children's School and Library team for that fantastic presentation. And of course, thanks to our special guests, Jeanne Birdsall and Melanie Nolan, for starting us off with that great conversation. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, slide presentation, title list, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. You can also find out about the latest webinars on our social channels. You can visit us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and now at Blue Sky. We are thrilled to announce that the digital version of Booklist Reader, the monthly reader's advisory magazine from the editors of Booklist, is now an ALA member benefit. Head over to our new site to start reading, and if you're not already a Booklist subscriber, you will use your ALA membership ID to sign in. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. A huge thank you to our panelists and to the sponsor, Random House Children's Books. This concludes today's webinar. We'll see you next time.